I don't remember who you fight, though.
Neither do I. So we're gonna go find out.
It might be the gimme fight.
I think so. I don't remember shit. Expect me to remember shit, CirclMastr? Only spent 90 hours of my life streaming this game.
What happened in this game?
I totally could recap the plot of this game if I needed to.
I want you to recap the plot of this game right now.
Okay. All right. Goog presents an official recap of the plot of Final Fantasy VI.
Somebody clip this.
Once upon a time, there was a girl named Terra. She had amnesia because she was brainwashed because the Empire was bad. The Empire used her in a suit of armor, even though she had magic, which was weird. But it made her walk at the same speed as them, so they liked it. They invaded a town named Narsh. Shit went wrong on their mission. Terra found Locke and Locke's friend, Old Guy. Locke and the Old Guy rescued Terra, and she started gaining a little bit of her memory back, enough to realize that her name was Terra. And meanwhile, there was a bad guy named Kefka. He was mean and awful and rude to such people as General Leo and a town full of Jamokes. The town full of Jamokes got poisoned and died. I feel as though I've skipped about 15 hours of plot.
You skipped Edgar completely.
Listen, Locke and Terra had Locke had a friend named Edgar. Edgar's the king of Figaro, which is a very important town that definitely works for the Empire forever and ever, amen. Oh wait, they've turned on the Empire. Like at the very first opportunity, Figaro went from we love the Empire, we're best friends with them, wink, to no more wink, we fucking hate you. So Figaro's...
Well, to be fair, Kefka did set their castle on fire.
That was a minor complication in an otherwise fruitful and bountiful relationship. So, Kefka was gonna totally fuck up their shit, but surprise, turns out Figaro Castle is also a submarine castle, except by submarine I mean subterranean, because it can go underground. So Figaro Castle goes underground, and Edgar and Terra and Locke go into a cave, and then they come out the other side of the cave into a town that's occupied by the Empire that Locke has to get through. I feel as though I've skipped 15 hours of plot. So meanwhile, Kefka is fucking up a town with poison, and by town I mean castle, but it's basically a town because it has like a whole bunch of people living in it. And he poisons everybody, and Cyan's mad. And, at some point, these two groups come together and then split up, and they have a fight on a mountain with Kefka and a whole bunch of mooks, and they win the fight because they're supposed to win the fight. It's not actually the final fight against Kefka. He's like the second to final boss or something. And there's a fight on a mountain, and then the party splits up into 3 separate mission stories. One of those mission stories is Locke has to sneak out of a town. Locke successfully sneaks out of a town.
That happened before the Kefka fight.
Listen, you didn't say recap the plot in order. So Locke successfully sneaks out of the town by dressing up as a merchant, a soldier, a merchant, a soldier, a merchant, a soldier, because I didn't understand the mechanic. And then finally, a merchant, a soldier, and then getting the fuck out of the town. Meanwhile...
After rescuing...
Seals. That's right, thank you. He rescues General Seals, who is definitely best friends with the Empire. Oh wait, she's been betrayed by the Empire. Oh wait, spoiler alert, she's going to tease turning heel or face like 9 times over the next 2 hours of the game. But he rescues General Seals, who's awesome. And then, in another storyline section, Sabin suplexes a train. The train is a ghost and a metaphor for Cyan's dead family. Hold this thought, we will revisit the concept of ghostly metaphors for Cyan's dead family 40 hours from now. It's going to be much worse. After Sabin and Cyan suplex a train ghost, they also meet a wild child named Gao who wants a cat but can't find a cat, so he never learns how to be a cat. This somehow takes 10 hours of gameplay. Terra also has to get to Narsh. By the way, everyone's trying to meet up in Narsh. So Terra's long and arduous journey to Narsh involves walking to Narsh. I think she might have had to ride a boat, but nothing happened on the boat. It was very quick and anticlimactic after Sabin's adventure, which, by the way, included suplexing a ghost train as a metaphor for some guy's dead family. Did I mention...
It wasn't a metaphor. The ghost train was carrying the souls of dead family to the afterlife.
It was.
Which he saw them board the train.
He did.
And ride off without him.
You would think that this story had reached a natural conclusion and wouldn't need to be revisited 40 hours from now in much worse fashion. And yet... But I digress. No. At one point, much before this, there was a rafting adventure, and also we fought Ultros. Sabin damn near drowned. This happened a while ago. I forgot it. I've put it back into the story here. So, once everybody meets back up at Narsh, they realize that, oh fuck, all of this is happening because Espers are back. Kinda. Also, they find an Esper, and the Esper goes all wonky, and Terra turns into a Valkyria. It is at this point that the party realizes they need to chase Terra, and they proceed to chase Terra through like 6 towns in 20 minutes, which, at least for the moment, these towns only exist for us to pop in, realize Terra's not here, and then leave those towns. So we do this with like 6 towns, and then we find out that Terra's at the top of a tower in Zozo. And Zozo's cool because it has thieves and murder and clock puzzles and the best town music in the game. Not even an argument. Zozo has the best town music in Final Fantasy VI. So, we fight through Zozo, and we fight a bunch of dudes, and we climb a tower, and we fight some evil bosses, and we win. And then it turns out that Espers are back, and Terra's magic or something. And we have to stop Kefka, because Kefka and the Emperor, both of whom are bad, want to use the Espers to create war and death and pain. All of which are bad. They're going to use them to conquer the world, but also destroy the world because they're bad, incompetent, evil people.
Well, Emperor just wants to take over the world.
He does, but he's bad at it. He's going to destroy the world because he's going to overkill the world because the Espers are way too powerful for him to control. Spoilers, we will return to this point at a later point in the story. Having successfully reunited Terra with her consciousness and existence and ability to be a playable party member, we then must invade the capital city of the Emperor, which definitely has a name. In order to... yeah, that thing you said. In order to invade the capital city of the Emperor, which definitely has a name, we have to... You are breaking up every time you say that. It's very funny. I legitimately can't hear you.
Vector.
There you go. In order to get to Vector, we have to find Victor. No, I'm lying. In order to get to Vector, we have to go through a weird, awesome electro-punk tower thing with switches and conveyor belts and dangerous enemies. Mostly just switches and conveyor belts. I don't actually remember any dangerous enemies there. But we do it. We get through. We break into the capital city, and we sneak up, and we find Sid, who's awful and mean, except he decides to stop being awful and mean just about the time Kefka, out of nowhere, teases a heel turn for Seals. I feel as though I've skipped about 10 hours of plot because this happens after the Opera House, and I didn't mention the Opera House at all.
You did.
At some point, we have to go to an Opera House. Oh, right. In order to get to Vector, we have to find the dude who has the one and only airship in the whole entire world, okay? The dude who has the one and only airship in the whole entire world has, in addition to the one and only airship in the whole entire world, a huge fucking boner for this one opera singer named Maria. Pause. Tangent. Why the fuck is this Black Cowl's #1 in a totally different font from every other item?
Because Pixel Remaster bad.
Okay, fair. So in order to find the dude who has the one and only one airship in the whole entire world, Seals, who it turns out is a dead ringer for the most famous opera singer in the whole entire world, and a tremendous opera singer with no practice, she just busts this out on cue. Seals poses as this famous opera singer, thereby luring the dude who has the one and only one airship in the whole entire world into the classic horny trap. Dude get horny, dude lose mind, dude let lady on boat. Lady get friends on boat.
It's called a honey pot, not a horny trap.
Same thing. So Seals has successfully smuggled her entire team onto the one and only one airship in the whole entire world, at which point it is revealed that the team's plan was, hopefully this guy never comes into the room. Because the dude just walks into the room and the team is completely unprepared for this. They had no defense for the notion that Setzer might open the door and enter the room to speak with Seals, who in Setzer's mind is the famous opera singer Maria, for which he has a wanna fuck boner. They never considered that he might enter the room. So when Setzer enters the room, the plan falls apart. In 8 seconds, this meticulously crafted plan, which we spent 8 hours and a beautiful opera mini game concocting, falls the fuck apart. So the plan falls the fuck apart, but fortunately for Seals, she's still hot, and Setzer still wants to boink her. But also, he's stupid. Amazingly, they still managed to secure the services of the one and only one airship in the whole entire world by using the one and only one double-sided coin in the whole entire world. They flip a coin, they cheat at a coin flip, and Setzer's just like, you got moxie, kid, I'll work with you. So the dude who has the one and only one airship in the whole entire world flies the party to Vector, and they sneak into Vector, and there's fights on a tower, and they find Sid, and Sid turns face, but Kefka says Seals is gonna turn heel, and Locke is all like, Seals, would you really turn heel on me? Even though there's no indication at all that Seals is actually gonna turn heel, other than the fact that she had previously been a heel, but she had plenty of good reasons to turn face, which Locke fucking saw, but Locke doesn't fucking trust Seals, even though Seals just did a fucking opera song about how much she wants to fuck him. So Locke is all like, Seals, are you gonna turn heel on me? And Seals is all like, not answering questions at the moment, and she destroys stuff or whatever, and shit explodes, and oh shit, all of the espers are loose. Oh, by the way, all of the espers being loose is bad. Because flashback time, espers and people used to be at war with each other. And then one time, an esper fucked a lady and Terra was born. And then Terra got yoten out into the real world and then cast down a magical rock barrier between Esper Town and Real People Town, because otherwise the real people were gonna come in and fuck up the Esper shit. And that would have been bad. So they put in the barrier, and the barrier lasted for 1,000 years, but then Kefka was like, fuck this barrier. And the Emperor was like, I don't know if we should really say, fuck this barrier. And then Kefka was like, fuck this barrier. So they said, fuck this barrier. Have I skipped 15 hours of plot?
A little off here.
Have I skipped like 15 hours of plot again? I feel like I might have skipped 15 hours of plot.
You misrepresented a few things.
Okay, well, Kefka and the Emperor in combination are like, fuck this barrier. And then the Espers are like, fuck you. So the Espers just fuck up everyone's shit. Fishingworth, Shotgun Splicer, I am doing this on a dare. CirclMastr said that I couldn't explain the plot of Final Fantasy VI, and therefore I am proving him wrong.
I just said I want you to.
And I'm doing it. I'm explaining the plot of Final Fantasy VI perfectly, flawlessly, 10 out of 10, no notes. So Kefka and the Empire are like, fuck this barrier. And they break down the barrier, and then the Espers are like, all right, fine, fuck you, buddy. And the Emperor's like, oh, shit. This bad. And the Emperor, realizing that he has been outclassed in battle for the first time in the history of his empire, desperately searches for allies, which the player is supposed to interpret as having a legitimate change of heart, but is really just a desperate tyrant trying to hold on to his tenuous grasp on power. So we have dinner with the Emperor, and there are some dialogue choices that I could have made to make it better or something, I don't remember, and we don't actually do anything good, but then we talk with the Emperor for a while, and then we go off to fight Kefka, and Kefka fucks us over and destroys the world. Basically.
You skipped a few steps again.
I don't remember rating step. There was a flying continent. You know, there was a flying continent, and we had to fly there, and there was a whole bunch of aerial defense, which is weird considering that there's exactly one airship in the whole entire world. But we fight through the defense eventually. It took a while. We were bad at battles for a minute there. And we fight through the defenses, and we get to the flying continent, and... I'm sorry, what?
You forgot that Kefka killed General Leo.
Oh, right. Well, that was part of Kefka being a general fuckbag. Nobody cares about General Leo. So Kefka murders General Leo, who's a bad guy working for the... good guy working for the bad guys, which always happens, that those guys half the time wind up being dead. So, yeah, he wound up being dead. So Kefka murders General Leo, and then there's a flying continent, and we fly to the flying continent on the one and only one airship in the whole entire world. And despite the fact that there's one and only one airship in the whole entire world, there's an awful lot of anti-air defense. But we get to the flying continent, and we fight a bunch of dudes, and we fight fucking Ultima Weapon, the incarnation of ultimate death, until later in the game when there's a more souped up version. And Kefka's like, well, fuck you guys. And he brings back the warring triad of awesome mages from 1,000 years ago or whatever. And they just say, okay, fine, let's fuck over the world. So they proceed to fuck over the world. And there's a chase scene where we have the option to jump or wait for Shadow. And I was under direct explicit orders to wait for Shadow. So, of course, I forgot to wait for fucking Shadow like a goddamn idiot. So I had to watch the entire end of the world sequence and then go back and actually wait for Shadow. So that was the first time I saved scum in this game. It wasn't the last time. There will be more save scumming to come, I'm sure. So we went back and we waited for Shadow, and we saved Shadow, and we jumped on the one and only one airship in the whole entire world, and then Kefka fucking blew up the world. And then a year went by, I guess. We were in a coma or whatever, and we woke up with Seals on a beach with Sid, who is her grandpa, who we might have known beforehand was her grandpa, but we didn't.
He wasn't actually her grandpa. They had a conversation of like, we're the last two people on Earth, and we might as well have an adopted granddaughter-grandfather relationship. And then Sid fucked off and died.
Sid did indeed fuck off and die, which inspired
because
Seals.
You killed him.
I did not kill him.
You fed him rotten fish and he died.
He would have died anyway.
No, you can absolutely save Sid.
What?
Yeah.
What? You can save Sid?
It's better for the story. It's better for the story that he dies. It's way more impactful that Seals attempts suicide after the one and only person in the whole entire world other than her dies.
But then she found a bird who had a bandana, and of course this was Locke, because only Locke has bandanas. Locke is the one and only one bandana wearer in the whole entire world, I guess.
Well, he ruined bandanas for everybody else. He started wearing them, and everybody said, "Oh my God, Locke is wearing bandanas. We can't wear bandanas anymore. Bandanas are the worst thing ever." So everyone else stopped wearing bandanas.
This is as good a point as any. But Seals decides, oh, this bird with a bandana must have something to do with Locke. So she goes off in search of Locke and then finds, like everyone else in the party before Locke. I think we found Locke literally goddamn dead last.
Yes, you did, because Locke is the worst.
Locke is the worst, and also the hardest to find. We had to get, eaten by a zone to find him. Or something.
No, that was Go-Go.
That was Go-Go. Well,
You had to land in the Star Shaped Mountain Range.
Oh, right. Anyway, we found Sabin just kind of hanging out somewhere doing chin-ups. And then we found Setzer just kind of... I don't remember what Setzer was doing. He was playing cards somewhere, let's say. And then it turned out... You remember that whole thing about Setzer being the guy who owns the one and only one airship in the whole entire world? Yeah, turns out that was bullshit. There's just another better airship, which Setzer has parked underground for 15 years because he's sad about his dead lady friend, who we never heard a fucking peep about before the world ended.
I mean, you could have if you'd actually done side stuff for Setzer. Anyway, you also skipped over Edgar. You do Edgar's thing before Setzer.
All right. So we find this guy named Ragdi or something. I think it was some other anagram. It wasn't actually backwards. Jared. Yeah, Jared. We find this guy named Jared with a soft G. And this guy named Jared is like, hi, I'm Jared. I'm definitely not the king of Figaro. Anyway, let's go to Figaro Castle, pirate boys. And Jared and the pirate boys go to Figaro Castle, where, surprise, turns out Jared is Edgar. Duh. Sabin, meanwhile, doesn't give a fucking shit about the fact that his brother either has amnesia or is lying to his face about his identity. He just, the game didn't bother writing any dialogue for the very likely possibility that you would recruit Sabin before you find Edgar. Dumbasses. So we get back to the castle, and then, after all of this, we finally get Edgar and Sabin's tragic backstory, some of which we got beforehand, but most of which we get now, where they're brothers and their dad's the king and their dad dies or whatever. It doesn't matter. Edgar's the king now. So Edgar gets to be king and Sabin gets to go off on adventures, and they both like where they are, but they also both kind of resent what the other has, and whatever.
You also could have gotten that scene at any point during the game by revisiting Figaro with both of them in your party.
Oh. Well, we got it after the world ended.
Yeah, that's on you.
That's fine. So, having reunited with Edgar, we then proceeded to reunite with, like, fucking everybody. People were in caves and towers and Zozo, and I think Gal was just living in a circus or something. He was back on the Veldt, maybe. He was on the Veldt. That makes sense. That's where we found him in the first place. And Locke was in that weird star cave, and we had to get eaten by a zone to go find Gogo. Gogo's a clown. He mimics people. That's cool. Also, by the way, before the world ended, we found a magic city with an old dude and a girl, and the girl was in a burning house, and we rescued the girl, and then the old dude and the girl were like, oh, we're not related, even though they're totally related, and then the world ended. So then we found the girl just kind of hanging out somewhere. I don't even remember where we found the girl, possibly in that same exact magic city.
No, she was painting the portrait.
Oh right, she was painting
rich guy in Jador.
She was painting a picture for a dude, and then we fought the picture she was painting, and then we went and found Strago. Strago's the old guy, and we found Strago with a cult, and he was like, "Brr, I'm in a cult, brr," and Realm was like, "Don't be in a cult," and Strago was like, "Okay." So Strago wasn't in the cult anymore. And then we had to climb the Mage's Tower, which fucking sucked, because the Mage's Tower only let us use magic, and magic is hard. So we climbed to Mage's Tower, which fucking sucked, and we fought like the 4th of 8 dragons or whatever. And then we got to the top of the Mage's Tower and fought a fucker, and the only way to kill the fucker was to deprive the fucker of MP so that he died. And then we did that eventually, and then we had to go down the Mage's Tower, and that fucking sucked. Oh my god. I feel as though I've skipped 15 hours of plot because all of this happened after we found Cyan in a castle made out of ghosts that also had another ghostly metaphor for his dead family, except this one was much worse and much more annoying. This one fucking sucked so much.
You also forgot his sad act too. Where he was catfishing a lady in Miranda with letters.
Oh, there was that. Cyan was kind of catfishing a lady by pretending to be her boyfriend, even though her boyfriend died when the world ended. That did happen. Also,
he needed to resolve his feelings, and that's why we had the dream sequence in the castle.
Sure. And then there was a Yeti. Did we mention there was a Yeti? There was a Yeti in a cave who only answers through a Moogle. We didn't mention the Moogle in the first hand. Before the world ended, there was this furry. The furry at the top of a mountain was fighting a Moogle, and we sided with the Moogle instead of the furry. So the Moogle joined our party and didn't do anything because the Moogle fucking sucks. And then the wolf fucked off, and then later the wolf fucked back, and we found this guy Shadow. We haven't mentioned Shadow one single time in this whole entire plot recap, other than the time we let him die.
Which is your fault.
Have I successfully recapped the plot of Final Fantasy VI yet? I feel as though I understand the broad strokes. Kefka bad, magic good, Espers depends which one. We need to stop. We need to use the Espers to stop Kefka and also the Espers from destroying magic and also the world again, but forever this time. I think this makes perfect sense. It's all completely simple.
Well, I know I said somebody clipped that, but I thought you were going to be a lot shorter with your summary.
Well, it's a complicated story that I happen to know very well, CirclMastr. Clearly, there's a lot to explain. I did.
And everything was in perfect chronological order as we experienced it, and there was no missed beats or skipped plot elements whatsoever.
There's 39 hours of gameplay. You can't expect a short, snappy 60-second recap. You gotta dive in.
Here's the short 60-second recap. In fact, I'll do you better. It's a 10-second recap.
Okay.
Star Wars, but fantasy.
Star Wars doesn't have yet. Well, Star Wars does have a Yeti. Star Wars doesn't have Go-Go.
It does have. It has Wampas. It does have a dude who doesn't say anything in a mask who has very few scenes that people are inexplicably drawn to.
All right, fine. So are you saying that Go-Go's last name is Fett? Hey, thanks for watching. Here's the upload schedule. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, do all the YouTube things. Bye.